Hello everyone, my name is Mary, and today we're talking about the Emperor. This is going to be another installment of Getting to Know the Tarot, a series that I'm doing where we look at a tarot card, get to know its meaning, look at other examples of it, and then look and see how it's relevant in our lives. And so today's card is the Emperor. So let's jump right in. So right here I have the Emperor from the Smith-Waite Centennial deck. This is the deck that I'm using to start off with because the Rider-Waite-Smith deck is just so foundational to tarot. It has so much to offer. There's so much symbology jammed into each card. So first off, I want to say that the Emperor and the Empress are two complementary energies, and they don't indicate the behavior or characteristics of men and women. They indicate the characteristics of yin versus yang energy, masculine versus feminine energy. And these complementary energies, masculine and feminine, are inside each one of us. So every one of us, man or woman, have masculine and feminine characteristics. And different part of our lives may be a little bit more masculine, while some parts of our lives may be a little bit more feminine, and that's absolutely okay. In fact, it's necessary to have both of these energies. So let's take a look at the Emperor and what his meaning might be. So first off, we're looking at divine masculinity here. So this is going to be left brain kind of stuff. Structure, stability. He symbolizes discipline, power, decisiveness, command, authority, and order. The Emperor is more action-oriented and more logic-centered. So this is a very different type of energy than the Empress, but equally as important. So let's take a look at some of the Emperor's symbolism. So right here we have the Emperor sitting on his throne, and that is the first, that's the first symbol I want you to look at, which is the actual throne. If you remember the Empress, she was sitting on basically a pile of pillows. So in a very natural, beautiful, soft setting. So very Empress for her to be sitting on a pillow. But the Emperor is not sitting on a pillow. His throne is very sturdy, hard, rigid. It's a very solid material. It's the kind of throne he could just probably jump up out of very easily. So very structured, hard, solid. The next symbol I want to point out is his scepter. So he has a scepter in his hand, and this is actually in the shape of the Ankh, which is an Egyptian symbol that denotes life, wisdom, and insight. Now, another important symbol on his throne, up here and down here, we have some ram's heads. Now, the ram's head is indicative of the zodiac sign Aries and also the planet Mars. And so together the ram's head symbol symbolizes strength, authority, action, and power. So both Aries and Mars come together to create that really sort of dynamic energy. He also has in his left hand a globe or some sort of sphere of some kind. I think other people have seen it as an apple. Either way, the idea of the sphere symbolizes dominance. It symbolizes his power, symbolizes him as a sovereign figure. So he's wearing some very rich red garb. So this indicates passion, power, but peeking out from underneath that red robe is a knight's armor. So he is not only wearing the garb of a sovereign, of somebody who is in a position of power and leadership, he's also wearing the garb of a warrior. And so this denotes bravery, action, readiness, and determination. So you can see that he's sort of like ready to take action at a moment's notice if necessary. He's ready to, just jump into the fray. He's ready to call the militia and just get started with whatever action might be needed. So that I think is a very important symbol. The last symbol I want to point out is the mountains. So in the background of the Empress, we had a forest, a babbling river, just flowing waters. She had wheat all around her, so there was a lot of soft symbols. But here we have a hard symbol, very obviously tall mountains behind him. So it's very solid. The mountains indicate solidity, but they also represent goals and achievements. So his life, his symbolism is very much centered around goals, achievements. Another thing the mountain can symbolize is a higher vision. So he wants to always improve, get better, go further, all of that stuff. So the Emperor sort of symbolizes masculine energy in the sense that he is a leader. He's a leader who provides security, structure, and protection. He is the sovereign. He is decisive. He takes actions for the good of his people, and he takes action when necessary. And I think that's going to be a key feature coming up when I look at some other examples. His place in the world, the Emperor's place, is a place of command. He is at the head. He is the decision maker. And again, I want to emphasize to anyone who might be listening that we're talking about masculine energy. We're not talking about men in general. We're talking about masculine energy, which is an energy that resides in all people of every gender. So regardless of your gender, you have masculine energy inside you, and that energy is the type of energy that this character embodies, this archetype embodies, this leader, this decisive sort of energy. So he is a leader. His place is a place of command. Another thing about the Emperor is that he's very visible. So he is not someone who shrinks away. His energy is a very visible energy. You can see him. You can go to him if you need help. He's the one that leads the fray, that leads the charge, all of that stuff. Another thing about the Emperor that I think is an important characteristic, but maybe is not always on the top of everyone's list of divine masculine characteristics, is generosity. So in my mind, the idea of masculine energy, and I think the Empress is like this too in her own way, very generous and compassionate and loving, but the Emperor in his way is very generous. So he is a provider. He's got enough energy to take care of himself and you also. He's the type of guy who makes sure that he has enough money, energy, time to take care of himself, but also all of you. Like he really wants to help. He wants to be in a position where he can provide. And the last thing I want to mention before we go to some other examples is that he fights for what he believes in, that he is a fighter. He will take action, and he will take any kind of action, difficult action, when necessary. So let's take a look at some other emperors. I did take a look at a lot of emperors. I combed the internet for all kinds of examples, and I found these 6. One of them is from a deck that I have, but each one of these emperors has something unique and wonderful to offer, something different to show you about that energy, and each one is important. So let's just take the first one. I absolutely love this one. So the first one, the one on the top left, is from the Darkana 2.0 tarot deck. And I love this emperor because he has a very strong impact to those of us who are familiar, and even in a small way, with the history of Native Americans in the Americas. So he is obviously dressed in Native American traditional garb. From his look, you can tell that he's a leader. You can tell that he's the type of guy that has the responsibility of a lot of other people on his shoulders. So he has a lot of responsibility, he has a lot of leadership. But the thing that I loved about this particular emperor is that he stands for something, is that he believes in something. He has a solidity to him that history has shown. Many of these brave and wonderful Native Americans, men and women, have stood up for their people, have fought for their beliefs, and that is a emperor thing to do, and to stand up for your beliefs, to stand up for your people, and no matter how hard it is and no matter how difficult, you won't back down. And so this emperor really inspires that type of energy, the type of energy of, here's a guy who believes in something, he's leading his people, he will protect his people come what may, he won't back down. He's just got this really strong, beautiful energy. But the one symbol I want to point out is his headdress. So this is a traditional Native American headdress he's wearing. And I think it's important to mention because it's very visible, which I think the emperor is. He is a very visible leader. The buck stops with him. He is the final line of defense. He is it, like there's a lot of other people that are fighting on the behalf of his nation. But he's at the tippy top of the power pyramid, he's it. And so he's the visible leader, the visible symbol of his nation. And so that headdress sort of symbolizes that visibility. It also, I think, is important to mention that the headdress is made of feathers, and I don't know what kind of feathers they are. I don't know what traditionally Native Americans use, but the idea of a bird feather sort of symbolizing vision and rising to new heights. So really gorgeous, gorgeous emperor. So the next emperor to the right of that one is from the Fountain Tarot, which is one of the tarot decks that I have, and I just love this emperor. One of the symbols, it doesn't really have a lot of symbols, but they're very impactful. And one of the symbols you see right away is the cube that the man is holding on his shoulders. He is literally upholding structure. He's holding up a structure, and that is emperor energy all over. It is total emperor energy to be a creator and an upholder of structure and rules and tradition and all of that. It's just perfect that this is what you see right away. And also it looks like the man is not just holding up this cube, this structure, but he's standing on a structure, a very solid structure. And it looks to me like he's ready to keep holding on to that cube for as long as it takes, like he's in it for the long haul. Another, I think, important part of this card is the red color. So we have red, which is again a symbol that we've seen before on the emperor, symbolizing passion, power, and leadership. And also groundedness and logic, I think, too. So, and the color red on this card is a really deep blood red. So I just love this emperor because of how impactful it is just immediately when you see him. So the next emperor to the right of that one is from the Mary L. Tarot, a deck I don't have, and I don't have the book to this, nor to the, I do have the Fountain Tarot, but I'm not operating from the books or what the artist has written or what the creator has written. I'm going from my own interpretation, just so you know. So if I interpret these cards slightly differently than you might be used to, this is just my take on the emperor and my personal interpretation of these beautiful pieces of art. So what I see in this particular emperor from the Mary L. Tarot, first off, what really strikes me is his eyes, which you can only see one of his eyes, but it's so impactful. It's so stunning a look, so discerning a look that it really grabs you right away. He looks to be gazing off in the distance, maybe contemplating something. Maybe he's thinking about, some sort of problem. Maybe he's mulling something over. But his look is very discerning. He's got a discerning look in his eye, and you can see the wisdom in his eye. There's a little glimmer in his eye, just a little spark of color, and it's like, it's obvious that this man has seen it all, that he has seen everything. He's been there, he's seen it, and he has learned and gained a whole lot of wisdom from everything that he has seen. So the next symbol I want to talk about is the sword that he's holding. So the sword symbolizes action. It symbolizes, the idea of defending his borders, protecting his people. The sword is not, he's not holding the sword in a way that he's ready to use it. He's sort of gently holding the sword. So he's ready to take action, but he's not taking action. And that's the key point, is that he's not taking action right now. He has his sword in his hand. You can see that there's a lot of dents in it, and some, it's not a brand new shining sword that is, no one's used before. It's been used plenty of times before, obviously. He's wielded that sword successfully, obviously, many times before. But right now, he's just gently holding it, in readiness, like he's ready to take action. And the thing about the Emperor that this card really shows, and I think other cards also show, is that the idea of discipline. That he's not taking action, that he is a discerning emperor and will only take action when necessary. Contrary to maybe what some people may think, the emperor is not just some, passionate, headstrong, foolish man who is just overly aggressive and takes offense at everything and is ready to start a fight at the drop of a hat. No, that is not emperor energy. Emperor energy is discerning and disciplined. So he is wise, he is logical, he is disciplined, and he's not going to wield that sword unless he knows it is absolutely necessary. The last symbol on this card that I want to point out is on his head. He has something that looks like a dragonfly tattoo on his head, which is really cool. The dragonfly is a symbol of movement. So he's ready to take action at a moment's notice, but the action that this emperor is ready to take is swift action. He's going to move quickly. You will not see it coming. When this guy is ready to strike, you won't hear him approach, you won't see him coming, and when he wants to change direction, he does that, at a drop of a hat. He does that swiftly as well. Moving down to the second row of emperors, starting on the left of the second row, we have the Emperor from the Crystal Tarot. And what I love about this Emperor, I love several things about it. I'm going to point everything out. First of all, I love most his posture, his look. It appears to me like he is watching. He's the watcher. He's watching his land, his kingdom. He's got his eye, looking out over every part of his kingdom. Nothing escapes his notice, and he has a vision for his kingdom, and he's really invested in bringing that about. He's watching, and you can this symbol of being the watcher, of having a vision, is amplified by the symbol of the eagle, which is sort of carved on the throne of this emperor. There's this beautiful eagle on the throne. And so the eagle is a symbol of strength, leadership, and vision. So he has vision for his kingdom. Another symbol on this card is his scepter. So most emperors have some sort of staff or scepter or symbol of power in their hands. And he has one. You may not be able to see it very clearly, but he has one, but it's sort of flopped over. He's holding it in a very relaxed kind of way, which I think, is really cool for this particular emperor, because what it denotes to me, what it tells me, is that this guy has nothing to prove. Is that this guy is so confident that he doesn't have to, throw around his weight. He doesn't have to prove that he's the leader. He just is the leader. He doesn't have to prove to himself or his ego anything. He holds power in his hand, but he doesn't need to, hold it up and let everyone see it. He has nothing to prove. He has a more relaxed kind of innate confidence that I think that posture really denotes in a beautiful way. Another beautiful thing about this emperor is, if you see in the background of this emperor, there is a green, lush hill and a beautiful tree in the background. And so this is really interesting, because you think that you denote like lush green, abundance and all of that with feminine energy. With the Empress, certainly she was in a very green and lush environment, a very abundant, natural environment. But this emperor has this green hill behind him. And in my mind, that is a symbol of bounty. It is a symbol of success. It is a symbol of thriving, that this emperor has brought about a situation for his kingdom where everyone can thrive, where everyone is successful, where everything is going well. And so all these symbols really together point to an emperor who has confidence, who is able to provide for his people, and who has a great vision and for his kingdom, and knows how to bring it about. So the next one over, from him, to the right of him, is the emperor from the tarot of the Pomegranate. So a beautiful card. This is just gorgeous. The first symbol I want to point out is the first one I think you see when you look at the card, which is his scepter. And it's not like any other scepter. This guy has a scepter that is like emanating rays of light. And it's not just rays of light, but there's this like spiky white, really brilliant light coming out of his scepter. And I love this because to me it's a symbol of light, brightness, hope, and victory. Like with this scepter, this emperor is ready to just take on anything. He's ready to go into the darkest caves, the most difficult situations, and bring light and bring hope and bring victory. And that is a very emperor energy. And I think it is a very key characteristic of any leader, whether it is man or woman. Any leader needs to have that bright, sort of inspiring quality that you, when you look at the leader, you think, it instills hope in you. You feel safe. You feel like victory is at hand. So I just love that scepter, and how it's just shining light out from it. Beautiful. Another symbol on this card that is kind of interesting that I don't see very often is the polar bear. So the polar bear, it has, a very complex symbolic meaning, but among other things, it's symbolic of resilience, determination, survival, and the ability to overcome, which absolutely is perfect, because this emperor has, is showing you that he has the power to survive, that he has the power to overcome, that no matter how difficult the obstacle, he will face it, he will overcome it, he will conquer it, whether by force or by logic or whatever talent he needs to use. He will overcome the most difficult of environments. But the last thing I want to mention about this particular emperor is that he seems to have, just by looking at the card, and before I mention that, I do want to mention the cloak that he's wearing. It seems to be heavy. Like his cloak is heavy, which is very literally the mantle of leadership, the mantle of responsibility is heavy on his shoulders. He has, he's carrying the weight of the responsibility on his shoulders, and his shoulders are strong enough. He's able to carry, he's able to accept the responsibility of leadership. So that's a very interesting symbol. But the last thing I want to mention is that altogether, when looking at this emperor, it makes me feel like this guy will go to the ends of the earth for you, for his people. There is no place that he is afraid to enter. Like, he would go to the ends of the earth to achieve his goals. He would do whatever it takes. He doesn't get tired. He doesn't get upset. He doesn't get frustrated. He's just going to keep going. That no matter what the problem entails, he will overcome every aspect of it. And he will go to the darkest, the coldest, the most miserable places to achieve his goals and to protect and defend what is his. So a really beautiful emperor with a lot of great energy. Now this last one, I had to include it because it's phenomenal. It's phenomenal. This last one is from the Barbieri Tarot. One look at this guy and you immediately get the sense that he is he's a Hercules character. He is powerful. He has muscles. He is standing tall. He is strong. He's got strength. And the thing about the muscles that you see very clearly in his arms and his abdomen, the thing about those muscles is that it indicates not only strength, which is an aspect of the emperor, but discipline. Again, discipline, an important aspect of the emperor. That the emperor is a strong character, but he doesn't just do things willy-nilly. He does things logically. He symbolizes logic and discipline and structure. And so these muscles have not come about accidentally. They came about by discipline, by a very disciplined way of working out, of working hard, of doing what he needed to do. And so he is a very disciplined character. The second symbol that is absolutely obvious on this card is the sword. Take a look at this sword. Would you look at this sword? If you can zoom in. If not, go find this card on the internet. Get a close look at this sword. It's incredible. It's absolutely incredible. It's like no sword I've ever seen. It's very scary looking. And so that's one of the things that this sword, I think, symbolizes, is that it's a very scary weapon. It strikes fear in the heart of the enemy. It will also inspire respect, because it's obvious this man knows how to wield that sword. He is an expert, obviously. He's an authority. He is able. He is strong. He knows how to wield that sword. He knows what he's doing. And that sword inspires respect. His power, his strength, his ability inspires respect. So you're not going to mess with this emperor. You are not going to push around this emperor at all. But that's not all we have here. Look how he's holding the sword. He's not wielding it in a very scary, aggressive way, because the emperor is aggressive when he needs to be. But mostly the emperor is pictured the way you see him in these cards that I've shown you. He is pictured in a repose. He's pictured in a state of readiness. He is not pictured in a state of aggression, because the emperor knows the cost of aggression. He knows the price that he has to pay if he acts in that way. And so this sword is just sort of resting, tip on the ground. His hands are like gently resting on the sword, like he's ready to take action. He's got his sword, but he's not going to take action unnecessarily. So I think those, the muscles, the sword, amazing. But another thing this emperor has is that he's got this very interesting artwork above his head. It's like rays of light coming out of his head. It's some sort of very complicated headdress, crown situation, and he's got some part of this design sort of right above the third eye. And so that would indicate that he has wisdom and insight, that he's not responding to the world in an emotional way. He responds to the world in a logical way. Another thing I need to point out is his posture. He is confident. He is at ease. As scary as he is, he seems at the same time approachable, like he will accomplish whatever it is you need him to accomplish. He just has confidence in his eyes. Also, unlike any other emperor that I've shown you, this one is not only looking, out to, straight ahead, but he seems to be very clearly looking at you. Like if you look at this card, he's looking back at you. He's looking you straight in the eye. He's not avoiding your gaze. Very confident emperor. And the last thing I want to point out is that there is a glow. There is a glow sort of coming out from his head and shoulders area. And that to me indicates a couple of things. First of all, I get the sense that this man is sort of, or in a way, ordained, that it is meant to be, that the light of spirit is with him, that he is a leader that did not take his place by force or by stealing it, but by earning it. That he is meant to be in this position of leadership. Also, I think that glow indicates that there is a whole lot of energy coming out of his, upper chakras, that he's enlightened, that he is intelligent, that he speaks the truth, that he has the ability to know the right thing to do. So, those are the 6 emperors that I had to show you. Let's move on to the next part, the last part of the video, which is how is the emperor relevant to your life? So how can you utilize or bring in a little bit more of this energy into your life, or even recognize where it is already in your life? So once again, emperor energy is a very distinct energy, and everybody has it, and everybody needs it. And you also need empress energy. So regardless of gender, you need them both. But how is the emperor relevant to your life? First, the emperor can help you provide structure to your life and your endeavors. So the emperor provides structure. Where in your life could you use just a little bit more structure, just a little bit more like, okay, I need to accomplish something. Let's get a list. Let's get a timeline. Let's get an itinerary. Let's block out some time. Even if it's a creative thing that you want to do, the emperor is one who will block, let's say you want to write a poem or write a book or make a painting. It's like the emperor is the one who's going to make space and provide the structure for that to happen. It doesn't just happen. It happens in conjunction with the emperor, who provides you the structure, the platform to get these things done. Another way that the emperor is relevant to your life is by providing discipline. So you saw in some of these emperors that he is a very disciplined character. So where in your life could you use just a little bit more discipline? And this could be a little thing. This could be like, if you're on the treadmill, can you stay on it for 30 more seconds? 45 more seconds, a minute more? Where can you just exercise just a little bit more discipline and give the emperor a chance to just flex his muscles in your life? And it takes discipline to really get to your accomplishments. A lot of us want to just jump headlong into getting things done, but the emperor is like, listen, let's think it through. Let's have a logical approach. Let's do this with a little bit more discipline. The third way that your inner emperor can shine in your life is by taking action. Where in your life are you ready to take action to achieve your goals? The emperor will help you with that. Also, the emperor is going to help you summon the energy you need to get things done. It's like you will feel suddenly fired up and ready to go, ready to do things. You know, he's like the guy that gives the football players like the pep talk at halftime, and suddenly, you know, their game is better, everything's, you know, clicking. So this is Emperor energy, you know, taking action to achieve your goals and helping you get fired up to actually do that, to find the energy and the strength to actually take action. So another way that the Emperor can help you in your real life is by where in your life can you take command? So is there some level of responsibility that you haven't really taken full possession of, that you need to step up? Is there a way you can become a leader in your life? Is there a way that you can step up and become the leader that you know yourself to be in some way? So like, for example, maybe your book club leader has just stepped down and saying, I can't organize this anymore. Does anyone else want to do it? And nobody responds, but you know in your heart, I could do that. The Emperor is telling you, yes, you can. Step up. Be the leader. You know, you don't have to be a leader in every area of your life because you're not meant to be. But there is probably some area of your life where you are meant to be a leader. And the Emperor is just like telling you, yes, you can do it. Where can you be that leader? Where can you have confidence in yourself to step up and lead? Where can you accept more responsibility in your life? And the next way that the Emperor can be relevant to your life is by standing up for yourself. So not every fight is your fight, okay? The Emperor knows that. You don't have to fight every fight. You don't have to prove yourself every time somebody, says anything slightly distressing to you. But there might be some times when your boundaries have been crossed and you have to release the inner warrior and step up and stand up for yourself. The last way that you can incorporate more Emperor energy into your life to really pay attention to that Emperor energy is by tuning into the logical point of view. There's moments in life when sometimes it's, you have to put your feelings aside for a minute. Put those feelings aside for a minute and just shine a spotlight onto the logical side of your brain and, see what it's telling you. What is the logical conclusion here? What is the logical next step for you? What is common sense telling you to do? When you just put your feelings aside for a second, what is common sense telling you? There's moments for that. Maybe it's not, you can't go your whole day ignoring your feelings. That's very unhealthy. You do have to acknowledge your feelings. The Empress needs you to, pay attention to feelings. That's the only way you can move forward with your creative inspiration. But the Emperor needs you occasionally to put your feelings aside and really focus on what is more logical at this moment. Give yourself a chance to get that logical point of view. And I know that's easier for some people than others. A lot of people are so wrapped up in their feelings that it's very hard to separate common sense from feelings. But there is a place and a time for looking at your feelings, and there's a place and a time for looking at the logical side of things, for paying attention to what the inner Emperor is telling you logically. All right, so this is the Emperor energy for you. I always end with a prayer, and so my prayer for you, for me, and for all of us is that we find the strength, the discipline, and the inner authority to achieve our goals in the brightest and best possible way. Amen, amen, amen. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next time. Bye.